The following is a presentation of the Best Station. The views and comments made in the following program do not necessarily represent the views and comments of the Best Station.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Fast Pitch Game 18. I'm your co-host, MC Brown.
I am Eric Lenneberg.
And we are here for another great show. Doctor, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, Yourself?
Very good. We have a lot to celebrate because we are 4 days into the 2016 MLB season.
Yes,
and
we
what
are.
A great day it is. And we are just full of some great information. We got a lot of stuff to talk about this show.
A lot of excitement.
And it's like a happy opening day to all you great fans out there. As always, we can be reached at the Fast Pitch MLB on Twitter, Facebook.com/the Fast Pitch, and under the guise of our great personal longtime friend Craig Best. www.thebeststation.net, where all of our shows are archived, facebook.com/the best station. To reiterate what we always tell you, thank Craig for his help with this show, because without Craig, we would not be able to bring you this show.
That's right, and he's been doing an incredible job with the pile of work we've given him.
We gave Craig a gigantic show for Game 17, and
Yes.
we hope you all enjoyed it. Hopefully it didn't scare a lot of people, but we got a lot of feedback, definitely.
Yes, we
so we
did.
know some people enjoyed it. So, Doc, why don't you get right back into our social media round here, and let's hear what the fans have to say.
All right, here come the messages.
All right.
Quite a few this week. I can only read a couple.
Okay.
Harold Vanderveer from Rancho Cucamonga, California.
Okay.
Wanted to let us know he has ticket stubs available from the last three Giants World Series wins, 2010, 2012, and 2014. And then he says he did have some tickets from the last Dodgers World Series for Eric, but he went to get them, picked them up, and they're so old they crumbled to dust.
Oh, wow. Disintegrated, huh?
Yeah.
So it was 1988, right?
1988.
They
Yeah.
won at least, though, right?
They
In
did
their last
win.
appearance.
They
So
did
yeah,
win.
we do have to give them credit for that. Yeah, the Giants off to a 2-0 start as of record time
Yeah,
here.
they're looking good. Dodgers are too.
Yeah, and the Dodgers as well. So, and that might tie into this next one, without really getting down into this, unless you would like to talk about the Giants more. I mean,
No, that's okay. I'll
you
pass
sure?
on the Giants.
Okay.
Yes.
Just to let Harold know, since it seems like the Giants are his team. I think Crawford, Belt, off to some great starts. Both are pitching like Cueto and Madison Bumgarner had a great game, right?
Decent game.
Pretty good game. So yeah, I mean,
That's a solid team.
It's early. I picked them for first, Harold, so I'm right there with you. We still got to see what happens. The Diamondbacks took a hit since we last recorded. Pollock went down.
A.J. Pollock, center fielder. Yeah, he's out and possibly for the whole season.
So, yeah, that's a tough blow. So that may change some predictions around. Doctor can't change his, of course, because that was locked in stone. So it is what it is. Well, maybe we'll see the Giants, my prediction, in the even-numbered year, and Harold's team obviously come through this year.
This is the year that even-numbered year myth will explode because the Giants are not going to win.
We'll see what happens. Okay, tying back into the other NL West, since we just seem to talk about them a lot, is our regular listener and resident doctor enemy of the doctor
Is she
at
back?
Casimir Girl 26.
She's back.
Please admit you are wrong. Apologize to Scott and kiss his quotation, or parentheses, soon to be World Series ring expletive. I cannot say what she just called you. So, Doctor, what do you have to say? Do you gonna eat some crow here? Chew your shoe up, or what are you gonna
Let
do?
me read you the next message I got.
Okay,
also,
yeah.
you know.
So we had another Casimir fan here, huh? Or what?
This is, guess who's back? Our rebel with a cause, Big Sal Mineo.
Sal Mineo, yeah. All right, excited to hear from Sal.
Yeah, and Sal has joined the Casimir Girls bandwagon.
Okay.
He says, now what are you going to say about Scott Casimir, Candy Striper Eric?
Oh, wow.
Candy Striper.
Oh,
and then he says, you know, he personally dedicated last night's game to you.
Yeah. Well, you are his resident hater here on the Fast Pitch, and I think you should give us a special Casimir report.
Special edition of the Casimir Watch.
Try not to choke on it.
Okay, Scott is the number 2 starter for the Dodgers this year.
Yes, sir.
Came out of the gate last night against San Diego in his first start. He went 6 innings, gave up 1 hit, no earned runs, 5 Ks, his first win as a Dodger. But, as Sal said, Kazmir dedicated the game to me. He wanted to win bad. So the fact is, I motivated him.
Yeah.
His agent gets 5% of his salary. I should get 5% for motivating him to win, and he may continue to do so as long as I continue to do the Kazmir watch. So I should even get a bonus from the
I don't
Dodgers.
think anything you had to say was motivating or positive at all. You were just down on him for a 7 or sub-7 ERA he had in spring training.
That's
and
right.
You if it was up to you, you would have released him after that.
Yeah, and that motivated him to do better last night, and he did. He came out of the gate, he pitched a great game, and he has to thank me for that.
Last time I thought you didn't have anything to do with signing the player's check, so maybe the money he's making motivated him, and maybe the Dodger blue motivated him. And
Well,
since
ultimately, it was his pride that was being hurt, and he wanted to show me up. So,
what was the listener who said you should be ousted from Dodger Nation? Was
that was Sal Mineo.
Sal Mineo, yeah. So Sal, yeah. He is wearing a white polo with blue lettering, Sal. I don't know if that means he's sorry for any of the Dodgers thing. They are 2-0, and they have been killing the Padres.
2 shutouts in a row.
A team that you picked ahead of them, may I add.
Well, it's 2 games into the season, MC.
Yeah, so
2
you
games.
believe the Padres, when they don't play the Dodgers, will be better than the Dodgers.
I'm just
That
saying
makes
I stick by
absolutely
my
no sense
predictions.
at all.
Well, we'll see. I have 60 games left.
We shall see. You got one last fan feedback here
I
for
do.
the show?
Remember Danny D, our Las
Danny
Vegas
D.
listener. A good, faithful
Sparked
listener.
a lot of conversation.
Yes, he did, and I think he's going to do it again today.
All right, what does he
Danny
have to
D
say?
says, "What do you think about Chase Utley's latest slide?"
Oh, wow. Well, Danny D, you seem to be on the pulse of the fast pitch, and we thank you for listening. That actually segues nice into our Around the Diamond Hot Topic segment. So we want to thank all you fans, as usual, for your great feedback at the Fast Pitch MLB on Twitter, Facebook.com/the Fast Pitch. Please keep sending them to us. We're going to get right into this, Doctor,
Yes,
since
yes.
Danny is a great listener and segues nice into this.
And
we had
he
a
gets the hot
controversial.
topics,
Yeah, he
doesn't
did. He does. He does. He's on the pulse of Major League Baseball. We want to thank you.
Yeah.
So the slide he's talking about is Jose Bautista slide in the Blue Jays-Rays game. I believe it was the Forsythe, right, who was playing?
Yes.
Who was turning the double play.
Yeah,
so
he was asking. Okay, go ahead.
Right, yeah. So this slide was ruled out at first, and that would have been I believe that was the second out of the inning. A run had scored during this, and on the ensuing throw to first, the runner was safe, so that meant that the Blue Jays had taken a 4-3 lead at that point.
Right.
So,
However,
now the slide with Bautista was directly in offense of the new slide rule, which is named after the doctor's favorite cheap-shotting hitman player, Chase Utley.
come on, he's a hard ball,
Chase
hard-nosed
Utley,
player.
who had broken the leg of Ruben Tejada, they made an actual slide rule about him to prevent people from being taken
And if
out.
it was going to be named after anybody, it should be the Coughlin.
No, nobody is talking about Chris Coughlin's rule. They're talking about the Chase Utley slide rule.
Coughlin did the same thing.
Coughlin's on the Oakland A's, so it's really not affecting me. So here's the slide here is what's overturned is the safe at first. They actually ruled him out due to interference from Jose Bautista.
Okay, that's the
and
new
that's
rule.
what we're talking about here. This is kind of a hot topic too on our Around the Diamond. So this is topic stuff. We're only a few days
So
into
Danny
the season.
D's asking about what do we think about Chase Utley's slide?
I'm sorry. So we're okay. So we're going to be talking about this, both in conjunction, anyways, Danny. So the Chase Utley did slide into home plate too, so we don't offend Danny here.
And like you said,
that's a controversial
Bautista's slide is a good explanation of what happened here, because I think a lot of fans don't even know or not aware of.
And we'll talk about the home plate slide that Danny is. So okay, so we're partially right. We're talking about slides here on the fast pitch. So let's set up this one first. And basically, this was in response to Utley's slide that broke Ruben Tejada's leg.
Yes.
They made a rule. So Bautista, and this is a little more newsworthy as we're recording, anyways. But so we're going to be discussing here. So, Doctor, what are your feelings on this? Do you feel that it should have been overturned? Because what happened is Bautista was not only ruled out at second, which he was, but he was also ruled for an interference.
Yes.
And at first base, I believe it was Encarnacion.
Yeah.
He was out. So basically, the game was over.
Yes.
Top of the night's over.
Yeah.
Rays
Yes,
win.
and I agree. It was a good call.
So
going by the letter of the law, the new rule. Yes.
Well, I think what happened too that kept it at 3-3, and then the Rays ended up winning the game, right? Okay, so in the bottom of the ninth, the Rays won. So during this, so you're thinking that this slide was perfectly legal in your opinion?
Which one?
The first, we're talking about the Bautista slide first in the Blue Jays Rays game. What are your
Yes.
thoughts on that? You feel that was fine? 'Cause
Yes,
by the
I do.
letter of the rule, he was.
Yes.
He,
Yes,
he
by the
did
letter of the-
interfere. He did interfere with.
Yes.
It. And I think whether you're mad at that should be a call. The rules clearly state that he can't make
rules clearly
contact,
state.
and he did make contact
Yes.
with the runner. You would argue that shouldn't have been even a rule to begin
It
with.
should have been a rule in the first place, and I don't know what's happening today. We've talked about this before, the Buster Posey rule. You can't hit a catcher now.
Gibbons got in trouble himself for saying, "What were we supposed to wear dresses the next game?" And that obviously probably
Well,
wasn't a
that
good
caused
PC.
a
That was a
lot
little
of commotion.
un-PC like thing to say.
Yes.
Which he said he tried to clarify that that the whole thing was a joke and that he was making his own joke in response. Probably not the most appropriate joke.
No, and the guy in his position needs to know not to do that.
But he was clearly angry. If I've watched a post-game conference, press conference with Coach Gibbons many times, and he was talking about like he was clearly stumbling over his words. He wasn't happy.
Yes.
You could tell he wanted to say a lot worse things.
Yes.
Expletives probably, like Casimir Girl says to you. But he was clearly upset. So he was thinking, hey, the games mean money.
Yes.
Games mean job security for himself, obviously, too.
And
for championships for Toronto Blue Jays that could be on the line with one game even. We
Yes.
know how much that one game playoff could mean. So he was saying it was a fairly clean side. Didn't think that Bautista did anything. Bautista himself said, I was doing what, I was sliding into the
Well,
bag.
the way the new rule is, by the letter of the law, he did break the rule.
He did touch the spike of
Yes, but I don't like the new rule. Now I'm saying yes, it was called the right way. I disagree strongly with what they call the Utley rule, and it brings us to the Chase
Yes,
Utley
let's
slide.
go now into that. So on here, I don't think you can argue the letter of the rule. So the letter of the rule on this was he touched it, and he did touch him. Whether you like it or not is conjecture to each individual. He did touch the spike of Forsythe.
Yes.
Yeah, but to get into the one what Danny is talking about, so I mistakenly jumped ahead here. But so Danny's talking about another slide that Utley did. So Utley is making news again. So there's a play at home plate.
Adrian Gonzalez singled into right field.
Okay.
Utley was on second, came around to score.
And the Padres catcher, was it Derek Norris?
It was Derek Norris.
Yeah. So he's set up, and Derek Norris is in where he's supposed to be. He's in front of home plate. He's receiving the catch, and Utley actually slides basically from running the inside of the baseline where he should have been, as Major League rules would state, he should have been on the outside.
Derek Norris was inside. He was to the
he wasn't
top of
covering
home
the
plate,
though.
No, he wasn't covering the plate. Here's the thing.
He wasn't blocking it, I should say.
He wasn't blocking it, and he was up and inside. So
Utley had a lot of room to slide.
Utley had a lot of room, and Utley could see Norris was going to do what he did, a sweep tag, and he got him.
Well, he tried to almost high cross body him, like a wrestling move.
No, he did not.
Yeah, he did.
We've both seen the video.
I've seen the video, yeah. He ran into him where he didn't have to. He had plenty of space
didn't run
on the
into
bases.
him.
Yeah, he did.
Oh,
he
if that's the
ran
case-
towards him right into him.
Okay,
yeah.
if that's the case, how come no protest from
Well, he was
Derek
out
Norris?
already, for
Well, hold
one.
on.
There's
No
nothing.
argument from Andy Green, the manager. The announcer said
Nothing to argue. He was out either way.
No ejection from the umpire. If he broke the rule, he should have been ejected.
Well, what do you think? Is that the rule in Major League Baseball?
Yes.
He should have been ejected?
Yes.
Well, then how come Bautista wasn't ejected? There was still a bottom of the ninth to be played.
I'm
They
telling
ruled that Bautista had touched him, so why wasn't he ejected?
Well, I'm saying
By your rules, he
no,
would have been ejected
because
too.
they called him out.
Well, yeah, and I'm saying they called him out too.
They called him out, but there was no contact.
Utley slid right into him.
No, he didn't. He
Yeah,
slid
did.
over home plate.
I think if that was protested in there because of where he was sliding to
Yes.
interfere, he would have been out anyways. I think that just would have caused. If it would have been protested, if it needed to be,
If it needed to be.
he would have been out again.
And he was out, but he was trying to slide under the sweep tag.
You
of
are
Derek
trying to
Norris.
make defenses for what I am calling Chase the Hitman Utley.
Chase the Hitman
So
Utley.
Chase the Hitman Utley. So what is Danny's argument? Did he just
he
bring
just
this up for discussion?
He wanted to know what we thought about
so
it.
Danny, we want to hear from you. Whose side are you on? Do you think that Chase is a hitman, like I'm saying, or do you think he's just a hard-nosed,
old-school hardball player
like the doctor's saying, who just happens to be in the middle of controversy and does nothing wrong? So
Yes,
Danny, we want to hear from you, and all fans, for that matter. Any of you fans, what do you think on Chase Utley? Do you feel that he is a dirty player? Do you feel that he is just a hard-nosed player? Do you agree with the Utley slide rule?
Yes, do you agree?
These are two things. Both of these, they tie together. So we talked about all these together, the slide rules here. So we want to hear from you fans.
Yes.
So you give us great feedback all the time. let's get some feedback from you guys. We want to get some new fan feedback on this for Game 19. So, as doctors say, we could just keep arguing this home because Doctor's a Dodgers fan and he loves Chase.
That has nothing to do with Dodgers. Has nothing to do with my feelings for Chase.
Sure.
It's the rule.
Okay, so we're going to get into some other hot topics here. We got both Chicago teams hot starts. The last time they both started 2-0, I believe. This was 2 years before Ernie Banks made his debut, I read recently.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah, that's pretty crazy. So that's a long time. Both my Chicago teams 2-0. We got both NL West Dodgers and Giants 2-0. So yeah, some hot starts from these teams. Good pitching though will take you far.
Good pitching, good defense.
Yeah,
right now.
definitely going on right now. In other news, we got a situation. You're going to enlighten us a little bit, Doctor. We had Mike Piazza irked at his 9/11 jersey.
This is right.
It was
The
auctioned
Mets-
off
without
his knowledge, right?
It's going to be
It's
auctioned.
going to be.
The Mets sold this to
Okay.
a memorabilia collector who now decided to put it up for auction.
Interesting.
Now, the Mets say they mistakenly sold it. Now,
Okay.
Piazza's very upset. It was intended to be put in the Mets Museum with the Mike Piazza Hall of Fame material because he
So
was
we don't
elected to the Hall
know.
of Fame.
Do we know how long ago that was that it was sold
couple
to
years
this?
ago.
A couple years ago. So
ago.
he's had it for 2 years.
Yes.
And now they're worried about.
Well,
I
because
mean,
Piazza was elected to the Hall of Fame,
Yeah.
and they had planned to put all these items in there.
so it's a private collector. Right?
Private
so
collector.
it's private collector's auction, and I believe you told me this off the air. The Mets should probably just
Mets should pay whatever it
money
is
to
and get it back.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, that would probably
That
make
would be
sense.
the best thing to do.
Seeing that nobody else knew about this until now, or well, maybe you shouldn't say that. Maybe this wasn't such a big deal until Piazza got obviously nominated. But yeah, so Piazza was pretty upset.
He was
about
very
this.
upset,
Yeah.
very upset, and I think rightly so. And
Yeah.
as we agree, the Mets need to buy it back. It doesn't matter the cost. Get it in there where it belongs. In
I think the
Mets Hall
details of
Fame
this
Museum.
has it kind of cleared up a little bit. So I heard about this, yeah, certainly now that it's being auctioned, it's too late. You can't, I mean, there's no way to get this back. If he's auctioning it, the collector has auctioned it, or if
It's not auctioned yet.
not
It's
yet,
going
so
up.
they just maybe
need to buy
before
it
it's
back.
auctioned, just buy it back.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I mean, there's no promise for this to be auctioned. I don't think.
No, not yet.
By this private collector. So yeah, but yeah, he has a point. I think Mike Piazza, it's clearly that means something to him. So
Yeah.
so definitely, I would say that that would be the way to go for the Mets there. So we're getting close here. We're going to be taking our first station break, but before that, I'm going to have a special Who Am I, Doctor?
Yes.
So before the
Everyone looks
Who Am
forward to
I,
this.
we're going to, or before the station break, excuse me, we're going to be doing our first Who Am I. So here it is. I am a 6-time All-Star on 4 teams and had 3 stints on 2 different teams.
6-time All-Star.
Yes, on 4 different
4
teams.
different
Can you
teams.
believe
Yeah,
that?
that's unbelievable.
That is unbelievable. I became a World Series champion as a coach for one of those same teams I played 3 stints for.
Oh.
And my number 3 was retired for that same World Series 2005 team. So that's your final clue. Who am I? We'll find out when we come back. The best station. The best music for the best audience. The best station can be found on thebeststation.net. Home of the best station and its podcast, The Fast Pitch, starring MC Brown and Dr. Eric Lenneberg, covering any and all related MLB news and events. Plus, The Comic Casters, featuring MC Brown, Colt Hudson, and Derek Ross, covering the comic book world of comic book trades, movies, on location for comic book conventions, and more. The best station. The best music for the best audience. The best podcasts for the best audience. TheBestStation.net.
Dodgers and the Padres. This one was a swift little number for the Dodgers. They beat the Padres. Scott Kazmir looking to fill a void left by Zach Greinke in the rotation. Backing up what Clayton Kershaw did yesterday with his 7 shutout innings. Kazmir struck out 5 in 6 shutout innings of 1-hit ball in his first start for the Dodgers. Retired 17 straight batters after giving up a hit in the first. 3-0 Dodgers over the Padres.
Hey, Pete Rose, what's a man really want from his aftershave?
No fancy perfumes or fancy bottles or fancy prices. A man wants to smell like a man. That's why I like Aqua Velva.
It seems so refreshing and masculine.
That's right. A man wants to...
Feel like a man.
Yeah, feel like a man.
You know, Pete, there is something about an Aqua Velva man.
And we are back on the fast pitch, so we're going to get to that Who Am I reveal, Doctor. And
this is a good one.
Yes. So this gentleman who played and was a six-time All-Star, played two stints. He played three stints, on two different teams, and we'll get to all those teams he played for. Was none other than White Sox legend Harold Baines.
Harold Baines, one of the purest hitters I ever saw.
So get this, Doctor. He played on the Chicago White Sox from 80-89, the Rangers then from 89 to 90, then went to the Oakland Athletics from 1990 to 92. So he was an All-Star from 85 to 87 with the Sox, 89 with the Rangers, and 91 with those Athletics. Then he went to the Orioles, where he played from 93 to 95, then went back to the White Sox from 96 to 97, went back to the Orioles from 97 to 99, became an All-Star for them, which is his sixth time then played for the Indians, back to the Orioles, and back to the White Sox. So that is a crazy line, but this...
What a career.
What a career for sure.
And not only that, he wasn't just some journeyman player. The guy was a pure hitter. He was a six-time All-Star, like you said.
World Series champion as a coach. Unfortunately, never won it as a player, but Silver Slug Award winner 1989, and just class act from everything.
Class act, yes. And you know what? People have forgotten about him. You never hear about Harold.
No, Harold Baines, very quiet ball player, and you didn't hear him in controversy or anything.
No, never. He went out and did the job and did it well.
Beloved White Sox legend,
yes.
And all of us from the South Side loved him. So, Harold Baines, the Who Am I of the week, and we're going to go right into This Day in Baseball, Doctor.
Here we go.
And the Doctor doing a little Watusi to the old school tune of This Week in Baseball's old little
I'm
tune.
a dancing fool, MC.
Yes, we can see that for sure. So we're going to get right into some great ones, Doctor, and we're going to go take the time machine all the way back.
The Wayback
Doctor,
Machine.
Wayback Machine. So we're going to take this sucker way back all the way from this day in April 6th, courtesy of nationalpastime.com, which we want to thank them very much for that. And we have our first one going back to 1971. Willie Mays, a month shy of his 40th birthday, homers on opening day and will hit home runs in the next 3 games to tie a major league record. Amazing.
And he was at the end of his career then, too.
Yes,
I remember that.
That's just unbelievable. And this is a special opening, I should say, this is a special opening day edition of This Day in Baseball. On 1973, an opening day at Three River Stadium in front of a record crowd of 51,695, the Pirates retire Roberto Clemente's uniform, number 21, posthumously. The Pittsburgh right fielder died in a plane crash on New Year's Eve attempting to bring relief aid to earthquake-stricken Nicaragua.
Nicaraguans.
Managua,
Nicaragua.
Nicaragua.
And that was a terrible tragedy.
Yeah, we talked about this in This Day in Baseball before.
Yes.
This is actually, they retired his number, rightfully so, after that. A very special day. This day in history was actually, and I've got a few of them here, in 1973 was the first year of DHs, so believe it or not.
You know, we talked about this off air. I thought it was later. I thought it was 77 or 8.
Yeah, so in the early 70s, and this is one of our first ones of many talking about DH, at Fenway Park, Ron Blomberg of the Yankees becomes the first designated hitter in Major League history. In the historic plate appearance, Boomer draws a first-inning bases-loaded walk on a 3-1 pitch off Louis Tiant, and will become the first DH to get a hit when he singles in a third frame of the 15-5 Red Sox rout of the Bronx Bombers. So that was an amazing thing. So that also leads in the same year. We're going to go in 1973 at Oakland Coliseum. Tony Olivia becomes the first designated hitter ever to homer. The Twins DH's first inning 2-run round tripper off future Hall of Famer Catfish Hunter helps defeat the A's 8-3. So a lot of DH business going on in 1973.
Tony Oliva, a great hitter too. Yeah. I didn't realize he was still playing then.
Yeah, get this. Also something noteworthy in 1973. 3 years ago in 1970, this Richard Nixon was supposed to throw out the first ceremonial pitch. Well, that didn't happen, unfortunately, and his son-in-law and the grandson of the former president actually ends up throwing out the first pitch. But
David Eisenhower,
yeah. But Richard Nixon becomes the first president to throw the first ceremonial first pitch, on opening day. In a contest held outside of Washington, D.C., the commander-in-chief does the honors before Nolan Ryan and the Angels beat the Royals at Anaheim Stadium.
Oh, that's right. And he lived in San Clemente. It's called the Western White House.
Yeah,
So,
that is a little piece of trivia history there. All the way back in 1973, that was the first time.
yes.
74, next year at Veterans Stadium, the Phillies' third baseman Mike Schmidt hits a ninth-inning two-run homer off Tug McGraw to beat the Mets on opening day 5-4. The walk-off homer is the first of the league-leading 36 dingers the third baseman will
Mike Schmidt,
hit
another great hitter.
that season. Yes, very cool. We all love Mike Schmidt here on the Fast Pitch. Get this, in 1977, for the second time in 9 years, a new franchise makes its major league debut in Seattle, the first one being.
The Seattle Pilots.
Yeah, so 9 years prior to Pilots debuted, the Mariners here in 1977 lose their first regular season game at the Kingdome to Frank Tanana and the Angels 7-0. So not a good start for Seattle there.
No, that 1969 team was the subject of Jim Bouton's huge selling book, Ball 4. Which
And what happened to those Pilots? Where did they move?
In 1970,
Trivia.
they became the Milwaukee Brewers.
Wow, I mean, how angry you have to be a Seattle fan at that
Yes,
point. You have
one season.
One season, they move. Crazy. Okay, in 1982, a freak heavy snowstorm brings sub-freezing temperatures across the Northeast and Midwest, causes the postponement of home openers for the Yankees, Tigers, White Sox, Brewers, Indians, Phillies, and Pirates. You remember that? You must have been like 49 years old. at
No,
that
I
point.
wasn't born yet.
1982, huh?
Tell me about it, what it was like.
Deep-voiced toddler you were, huh?
That's right. I was a child prodigy
Yeah.
of broadcasting.
That's hilarious. Get this is a funny story, I guess, unless you're him. In 1984, after committing a two-out error in the bottom of the eighth inning to allow the eventual winning run to score, in the Yankees' 7-6 loss, the Rangers at Arlington Stadium, New York shortstop Bobby Meacham is sent to the minors after the fourth game of the season on the orders of owner George Steinbrenner.
I do remember that.
The move, which stuns manager Yogi Berra, will prove to be the precursor to the boss firing him next season after the team drops 10 of its first 16 decisions. This goes back into the who's controlling who argument, but
Yes.
instead of the players, you got the owner managing from the box.
A lot of people have forgotten those days when Steinbrenner was doing those
Steinbrenner
things.
was like out of control during
Yes.
that era. Yeah, so yeah, he ordered the guy sent down. He owns the team though, so
Well,
I mean,
that's
I guess
his business. It's
got
his bailiwick.
he's got stroke. 1988, going back to the DH here, the Blue Jays' reluctant designated hitter George Bell follows up his 3-home run opening day performance by going in 5 for 5, 3 singles and 2 doubles, leading Toronto over the Royals 11-4. Considered a defensive liability, last year's American League MVP will return to left field full time. So I guess if he was pretty angry and said, "Hey, I want to be back in left,"
Yes.
you keep going, 3 whatever, you get like almost 10 hits in 2 games, then I think
You're going to get your wish.
you're going to go back to left field. To wrap it up with the last couple here, Doctor, 1993, Jack Morris sets a major league record when he makes his 14th consecutive opening day start, taking a loss. During that span, which started in 1980 with the Tigers, 10 seasons, and continued with the Twins, 1 season, the 37-year-old right-hander has compiled an 8-6 record in his first day assignments. Pretty crazy.
Yeah, Morris is a great pitcher,
Oh,
too,
yeah.
but I didn't realize he had 14
consecutive. He was that good. A lot of people don't know Jack Morris. Look him up. He was an incredible
Yes, he
pitcher.
was.
1997, with a 3-2 loss to the Houston at the Astrodome, the Cardinals remain winless after the first 6 games of the season as the Redbirds' worst start in their 106 Major League history of the franchise. They don't lose very many seasons, I can tell
No,
you
they
that
don't,
much.
and I'm sure you were happy to read that, being a Cubs fan.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, they've been finishing last place since 1990. I don't think they still
Yeah,
haven't.
they're quite
That
an
is
organization.
insane. 2004, an online poll, which this is more comedic this day in baseballs. In an online poll in which nearly 8,000 fans participated, Still We Believe, the Boston Red Sox movie is selected as the title of a documentary about the 2003 season. Other choices offered by the team and the Boston Globe websites included This Is the Year, the Ecstasy and the Agony, and Always the Bridesmaid, in addition to fans' rye suggestion of I Know What You Did Last Summer, I Wish I Didn't Know What You Did Last Fall. Horrible, but funny.
Oh, my goodness.
Here's a little piece of trivia, and we're just going to keep going here. On opening day in Bank 1, Diamondbacks outfielder Luis Gonzalez and Rockies second baseman Luis Gonzalez each homered the first time the making it the only second time in the Major League history where players with the same first and last name homered in the same game. I would have thought that would be the first easily.
I would have too.
The first, though, occurrence happened when both Ken Griffey's, both Junior and his father, played for the Mariners, hit back-to-back homers.
That's right.
Off Angels hurler Kirk McCaskill.
In 1990.
1990. Look at that. He didn't have to read it.
Real quick, here's
Yeah.
why I remember it.
All
Real
right.
quickly, we talked about this during the Tim Haggerty interview.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes,
Tim won a
yes.
bet from me.
Yes, you lost that bet. Correct,
I
yes.
guess that was a precursor to my betting with Chuck
Wish
Boyer.
we would have been here. Yes, you are just a notorious loser.
At gambling, yes.
Yes, and gambling. I forgot to add that. In 2004, it took nearly half a century, but Hank Aaron has finally surpassed an unlikely category. Hammer and Hank will no longer be the first player named alphabetically in baseball history books when Giants pitcher David Aardsma makes his first Major League debut, which is A.A. Aardsma.
Well, that's kind of an earth-shattering news piece there, MC. I'll sleep better knowing that.
Yeah, so and just then to wrap some of these up, just here, we have just records on this day in baseball. Both Ken Griffey Jr. tied from Frank Robinson. He has record-tying 8th opening day home run. On the same day in history in 2012, Adam Dunn ties that as well, hitting his 8th opening day home run. So that's just
I wonder if
unbelievable.
someone will ever hit 9. That would be
that
something.
is crazy. But neither one of us, I don't think there's any active player close, but right now it's going to be probably hard to beat. And just to wrap up this long edition, but very noteworthy opening day edition of This Day in Baseball. On 2015, our opening day, they raised retired number 66 in honor of the late senior baseball advisor Don Zimmer, who passed away in June at the age of 83. Popeye, who was a player, coach, and manager with a dozen different teams, wore the number in his final season.
Popeye. Boy, he was popular. I loved Popeye.
Yeah, and definitely a lot of great things happening on opening day. We're not going to be able to do another one like this, so we crammed
right.
a lot of stuff in there. So we want to thank you all for staying with us during that, and we're going to kind of, looking at that, Doctor, we're going to get to another fan favorite segment of ours here, as usual.
Yes, it has become a real fan favorite.
yes,
I get a lot of feedback on this, too.
Yeah, and looking at this segment here, we got to tally the winners up and let you know from our Fast Pitch Feud. So
Fast Pitch Feud.
right now we are going to, Doctor, play the feud.
Here we go.
Here it is.
Fast Pitch Feud coming up.
Okay, Doctor, so we're coming into here from last week. Basically, I'm going to have you read our last week's questions. So as we look at these,
Okay.
Doctor's going to read them, and I'm going to read the results of
Okay.
what the number one answers
Name
are.
a type of baseball pitch.
Okay, so as we name the type of baseball pitch, we are going to
What kind
go
of
down
pitch?
some of the,
There's a lot of them.
So some of the answers here, which was great. We have 3 answers.
Okay.
Okay, and we're gonna do a little bit differently this time. What we're gonna do is we're going to run down. We got 3 of our wonderful listeners who have participated in this. One of them is our resident Chuck Boyer, and Chuck had said the nasty curve. Zach, who is our other great listener, Zach gave us the fastball. And one of our great new listeners, David Giacio Jr., gave us knuckleball. Okay, so we're just going to track all these.
3 different pitches.
Okay. Give us our second one, Doc.
I would have said cutter myself. Second,
Yes. Our second question, this is naming
naming a player, past or present,
Yes.
on the Oakland
on the
Athletics.
Oakland Athletics. Okay. Hendu, Ricky Henderson was Zach's answer.
Okay.
Okay. David's answer
There was a lot of possibilities for this
was Raleigh Fingers, which is great. He took that one right out of the pass, the great
Yes.
Raleigh Fingers.
And what did Chuck have to say?
Dave said the actual general manager of the Diamondbacks.
Dave Stewart,
Dave
yes.
Stewart, yeah. Yeah, maybe you know something.
Do you know what surprises me here? Nobody said Reggie Jackson, because his first part of his career was with the A's.
That is crazy, isn't it? So, and give us the last one, which is...
Name something A word or phrase that you might hear an umpire say on the baseball field.
All right. So, Doctor, right before we give that one, what would you say if you had to answer that one?
If I had to answer that one?
Yeah.
A word or phrase?
Yeah.
I'd say, you're out of here.
You're out of here, yeah. And I
Manager
think,
being tossed.
and I think that to go back in time to look at that one, I would say that one might be a very popular one, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, that all of our great listeners on this said strike. So,
Okay.
Doctor,
So how
you
does
said
it turn
you're
out here?
So I'm going to give the final answers here. So Zach gave fastball, Chuck gave curve, David gave knuckleball. Neither one of them were right, Doctor. The number one answer was, believe it or not, slider.
Slider.
Slider was number one.
I would have said cutter.
Number two was screwball.
Oh.
So none of our great listeners won that one. Okay, going back into player, the A's. Zach got it right. The number one answer was Ricky Henderson. And Chuck, nobody said Dave Stewart. Sorry, buddy. And Raleigh Fingers got one person who said that, so David. And finally, strike, which all of our great listeners said, that was the number two answer. Number one answer was you're out.
You're out.
You're out.
That's
so
what I
then
said.
that was the number one answer. So our winner is Zach. So Zach, congratulations. You win.
The 2002 Oakland A's media guide, personally signed by President and Director of Operations Billy Beane, who was the general manager in 2002. And, of course, Brad Pitt starred as Billy Beane in the movie Moneyball, which was based on that season. So it's quite a piece of memorabilia.
Yes, Zach will be excited. Zach's also, we'll be mentioning Zach in our Fast Pitch Fantasy League segment after our final station break. So just kind of wrap this up so we can go to that station break, Doctor. We have 3 new questions.
Okay.
And I'm going to read them here, hopefully with a little less trouble. So our first one is actually submitted by the great Zachary L. And that's our first fast pitch question of this week. If you could own one big league MLB record, what would it be?
Good question.
And
Real good question.
Yes, definitely. When you think Chicago White Sox, which ball player, past or present, immediately comes to mind? That is number 2. And number 3, name a baseball team with a bird as its team name. So
Bird as its team
name. So those are 3 great questions this week, Doctor. We're going to take our final station break, and
and all
we'll
those
be back.
teams with the bird in their team names, be sure not to flip those around and get them mixed up. Okay, let's take our last station
okay,
break.
I see what you did there. We're going to go to our final station break. We'll be right
back.
The Fast Pitch will return in just one moment.
Hi folks, Mark Fittich here to tell you about Tribune United's newest premium channel, PASS, Pro-Am Sports System. PASS features live and exclusive sporting events 365 days a year. You can watch 80 Tiger games, 40 Piston games, live boxing, and much more. Call 549-2100.
Catch all the excitement of professional sports, including the red-hot Detroit Tigers, on PASS, the Pro-Am Sports System, Channel 22B.
TNN presents a rare appearance by a rare talent.
I may cross from the highway, but I'll never swim Kern River again.
Presenting Merle Haggard.
I've got rapping fever in my blood.
Merle Haggard, poet of the common man. A TNN special concert, Saturday, October 17th at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on TNN.
And we are back on the Fast Pitch Game 18. Conspicuous by his absence for this segment is the doctor. Dr. Eric Lenneberg had been called on assignment for MLB Radio for this segment, so he's been pulled away, unfortunately, but we have to bring this to you. So the doctor is a busy man. He'll be back to close the show. So here on the Fast Pitch Fantasy League, this is our first edition here, and I'll try to keep you all entertained here. We're tracking our great listener, Zachary L., and we're just kind of going to go over some great news in baseball for basically in conjunction with the Fantasy League. So some of our top stories in this early season: Trevor Story, 3 home runs with the Colorado Rockies in just 2 games as of record time here into the season. 2 of them off Zach Greinke, another one off Shelby Miller. So Trevor Story might be a player you want to grab. I did in our Fast Pitch Fantasy League. So if the doctor were here, he probably would be protesting. I also grabbed Corey Seager myself, which the doctor has protested vehemently against, but he should have grabbed them instead of taking Buster Posey before I did. Matt Garza, the Milwaukee Brewers, out 4 to 6 weeks. He was probably not going to be a highly drafted man. He's like the 5th starter, I think, of the Milwaukee Brewers. Recent injury news, I drafted Josh Donaldson first, and this is kind of hitting me. Possibly hamstring. We're still waiting here news as of record time. Josh Donaldson was removed to the game, his 3rd game of the season in the Blue Jays-Rays game, 3rd game. Just of note, anybody bagging on the doctor for Scott Kazmir, you can't see me kind of whispering to you. I don't need to do that anyways, but I don't want the doctor here. The doctor himself recently today grabbed Scott Kazmir. So on the Fast Pitch Fantasy League, as much as he bashes Kazmir, he now has him on his team. This is a legit shoot. So this is another reason to get on him, Kazmir girl. Sal Mineo, he wants more Dodgers on his team, yet he has them as 4th place entering the league. Don't get me started on that. So as we get into this, we want to kind of recap. This is kind of our little bit of bonus edition of the Fast Pitch Fantasy League. So it's an 8-team league. Our great listener, Zachary L's team's called Fit for a King. So we're just kind of, as a special gift to Zach himself, just run down some of Zach's teams here. Zach had started off with the final pick in his draft of Ian Desmond. He's since replaced him with Jean Segura, who was a pretty good pick. So we want to thank Zach's first move of the year for his own Arizona Diamondbacks. It's a pretty good move because Zach had got a guy who had both tripled and homered in his first 2 games. So good move by Zachary. Zachary, just look at some of Zach's moves. He ended up with a team of Brian McCann at catcher, Miguel Cabrera at first, Robinson Cano at second, Manny Machado at third. That same Segura now as the shortstop. Zach's number 1 pick was Giancarlo Stanton, which is a very good pick, Zach. Lorenzo Cain in the outfield, Jason Hayward. I believe Zach has had Cain in previous leagues. I've had the pleasure to be with him in. Jason Hayward also in his outfield. Prince Fielder at DH. One of Zach's favorite players who isn't a Diamondback, Albert Pujols. And utility, Ian Kinsler at utility second. David Peralta, utility outfielder. So not too bad, Zach. So me and the doctor will be monitoring your team, giving updates as we do every episode of the Fast Pitch. So not a bad draft for batters. Zach also ended up with a pitching staff of his first pitcher was Jacob deGrom, Adam Wainwright is second in his staff, Jordan Zimmerman is third in his staff, Drew Smiley is his 4th pitcher, and number 5 was Francisco Liriano, who had a pretty good opening day start for the Pittsburgh Pirates. So not a bad starting 5, Zach. His closers are Trevor Rosenthal, Jerus Familia, both on pretty good teams, the St. Louis Cardinals and New York Mets respectively. This is one of the questionable moves, but we'll see after the first month. Zach was the one who took a chance on Aroldis Chapman, but he is suspended for 30 games, so Zach will be getting nothing out of that slot. So in this Fast Pitch Fantasy League, there's everybody plays. So all the players I mentioned, Zach and myself, the doctor, a lot of great not only listeners but friends of the Fast Pitch are playing in this league. We drafted a 9-person team that includes the DH and then 3 utilities that cannot be more than doubling the spot. So you can't have more than 2 first basemen that are designated that. You can't have more than 2 second. Only the outfield you can have more, and even then you only have 3 spots, so you can only have more than, you can have more than 6 outfielders anyway. So it's all points, like closer to like a football style, but it's done daily. And the pitching staff, you can only get 8 starts out of your 5 pitchers. If you put a relief pitcher who has double designation, you could get more, but you're capped at 8. but you might be wise to stick with 3 closers because they have a potentially to get to 3-4 games possibly, maybe more, depending on how the stretch they're running and getting appearances and saves during the week. That could end up being more than the pitchers, since the pitching stats you can't really pad because they're not as valuable as the starter staff. So the fun thing about the Fast Pitch Fantasy League is we'll be tracking it. It kind of takes the place of the FFT, as we said in previous shows. We'll be tracking great listener Zachary L., and in future editions, hopefully becomes a cult favorite here. And it's still early. This is unfortunately just the first week of the season, so we don't have standings as of yet. We're going to get more detailed into that as well. But just since the doctor is not here, and I can kind of look at his team, the doctor himself has Buster Posey, Jason Kipnis, Kyle Seager, Troy Tulowitzki. Bryce Harper was the doctor's number 1 pick. Cole Calhoun, a personal favorite of Doctor. Ben Zobrist. Salvador Perez is his catcher. And he made a few moves today, which we won't go over until the doctor's there next. The doctor got both NL and AL Cy Young Award winners on his staff. Jake Arrieta, Dallas Keuchel. Shelby Miller, who had aforementioned, got rocked. He has the great Kenley Jansen, I believe might be one of the doctor's favorite. LA Dodger, side of Corey Seager, who myself has grabbed, so the doctor is jealous. So, cool thing is, anybody interested in learning more about the Fast Pitch Fantasy League, we hope to have an access to it if we can, possibly make it public where fans can just view and kind of take a gander at everything going on. And if you are interested in that, definitely let us know and send us feedback, and we'd love to hear it. So definitely Zachary L., his name Fit for a King. We're going to be tracking him. This is the 8th team in this league. It's a fun fantasy league, and we're going to kind of save fantasy news for this segment, and a lot of good stuff in here. So I want to thank Zachary L. again for being a great sport and a great listener and joining us in the Fast Pitch Fantasy League. We want to thank all you fans for following us on the Fast Pitch Heater, and we're going to have fun with this segment as the doctor reapproaches here. And just to wrap things up here on the Fast Pitch, we can be reached, as always, at the Fast Pitch MLB, Facebook.com/the Fast Pitch, and www.thebeststation.net. Craig Best has archived all of our shows. We want to thank him as well for another great show. Doctor, you had to step away, unfortunately, for our Fast Pitch Fantasy League segment after the last station break. But you are back now to close the show. We just want to thank you for joining us again.
Well, thank you for being here with me.
So, Doctor will be back for the Fast Pitch Fantasy League next week, of course. So we want to thank him. He is also on assignment for MLB Radio. So I want to congratulate the Doctor as well for not only the many assignments you've already done, but hopefully very many to come. And
yes,
that might mean some good news for you Fast Pitch fans. We might be joining maybe the MLB Network possibly.
Network,
so big things brewing without spoiling too many.
So don't forget, fans. Possibility in the near future of us going live. We will keep you posted.
Yes, so some good stuff there, Doctor. For the Fast Pitch on this Game 18, I am your co-host, MC Brown.
And I am Eric Lenneberg.
So we'll see you next time on Game 19. I want to thank you all very much for the feedback. And this has been a great start of the season already. We're going to be rolling, and then it's going to be some great stuff, Doctor.
Right,
we'll see you all. And thank you all again for listening.
Right, and for all you folks out there, have a pleasant week wherever you may be.
Thank you.
Hello, is there anybody in there? Just not if you can hear me. Is there anyone home? Come on now, I hear you feeling down. Well, I can ease your pain, get you on your feet again. Relax, I need some information first, just the basic facts. Can you show me where it hurts? There is no pain, you are receding. A distant smoke on the horizon. plain, you would not understand. This is not how I am. I have become comfortably numb. Okay, it's just a little pinprick. There'll be no more. But you may feel a little sick. Can you stand up? I do believe it's working. Good. That'll keep you going for the show. Come on, it's time to go.